The global auto industry is reeling tonight as Nissan, one of the most iconic Japanese car makers, has just declared bankruptcy in a move that has stunned investors, dealers, and millions of loyal customers. After months of swirling rumors, shocking quarterly losses, and an avalanche of debt, the company finally waved the white flag. This is not just a financial headline. This is the unraveling of a brand that helped define modern driving. For decades, Nissan was the car you could count on for reliability and innovation, but years of mismanagement, collapsing EV margins, and a brutal price war with Chinese automakers have brought the giant to its knees. And now the fire sale has begun. Across the United States and key markets around the world, dealers are slashing prices like never before to move inventory while they still can. We're talking jaw-dropping discounts, tens of thousands off brand new models, zero-interest financing, and unheard-of lease deals just to clear the lots. Some dealerships are practically begging customers to take cars off their hands before the bankruptcy court steps in. If you've been dreaming about a new car, this might be the buying opportunity of the decade. But behind these tempting bargains is a deeper story of corporate chaos. Insiders say years of internal power struggles, costly recalls, and a half-baked push into electric vehicles drained billions in cash. Meanwhile, aggressive competitors from China and Korea undercut Nissan on price and technology, leaving the company bleeding market share. Even the once legendary Altima and Rogue couldn't save the brand from plunging sales and rising interest rates. Now creditors are circling, factories are idling, and thousands of workers face an uncertain future as Nissan's restructuring unfolds. The shockwaves are spreading far beyond the showrooms. Suppliers who depend on Nissan's massive production lines are scrambling to secure new contracts. Banks holding Nissan debt are already preparing for heavy losses, while rival automakers smell blood in the water and plot how to capture Nissan's loyal customer base. And governments from Tokyo to Washington are watching closely, worried about layoffs, trade disruptions, and the ripple effect on an already fragile global supply chain. Yet for consumers, the deals are impossible to ignore. Reports are coming in of buyers walking away with top trims for the price of base models, extended warranties thrown in for free, and trade-in bonuses that border on outrageous. Some analysts are even warning that these bargain basement prices could spark a wider price war across the entire industry, forcing competitors like Toyota, Honda, and Ford to respond with cuts of their own. What started as a corporate crisis for Nissan could quickly become a tipping point for car prices everywhere. And while shoppers race to snatch up these once-in-a-lifetime offers, the big question remains: is this truly the end for Nissan? Or is there a last-minute rescue plan hiding behind the scenes? Rumors of a government-backed bailout, a merger with a global rival, or a dramatic restructuring are swirling, but no one knows how long these deals will last, or whether the brand will survive in anything like its current form. Industry insiders are now dissecting every clue for signs of a potential savior. Whispers out of Tokyo suggest that private equity firms and sovereign wealth funds have been quietly evaluating Nissan's assets, from its sprawling factories in Tennessee and Mexico to its valuable EV battery technology patents. Analysts believe that if a deep-pocketed investor steps in, it could reshape the company overnight, but at a steep cost to current shareholders and with no guarantees for existing employees. Some even speculate that a rival automaker could scoop up key divisions, carving Nissan into pieces while the name itself becomes a relic of automotive history. Meanwhile, customers who already own a Nissan are flooding dealerships and service centers, anxious about parts availability and future support. Extended warranty sales are spiking as drivers hedge against potential service disruptions. Industry lawyers explain that bankruptcy protection typically forces a company to honor warranties. But consumer confidence is fickle, and the uncertainty is pushing many to act fast, either to sell their cars before resale values drop or to lock in maintenance plans while they still can. Dealers, for their part, are walking a tightrope. Some are racing to liquidate inventory before any court-appointed overseers arrive, while others are holding back, betting that a sudden government bailout or white knight merger could stabilize prices. The result is a patchwork of offers so inconsistent that shoppers are crisscrossing state lines to snag the best deals, with stories of buyers saving thousands just by making a quick road trip to a more desperate dealership. Financial markets are reacting with equal parts panic and opportunism. Nissan's stock is in freefall, wiping out billions in market value overnight. while hedge funds are shorting the company's debt and speculating on which suppliers will collapse next. At the same time, bargain hunters are watching the bond market for distressed assets, convinced that pieces of Nissan, its EV battery tech, its performance Nismo brand, even its global dealership network, are worth more than the company as a whole. This feeding frenzy could reshape the automotive landscape for years to come. But perhaps the most unexpected twist is the ripple effect across rival automakers. Ford and GM executives are reportedly meeting behind closed doors to assess how Nissan's implosion could change consumer expectations and dealer dynamics. Toyota and Honda, longtime competitors, are rumored to be considering aggressive incentive packages to prevent their own customers from defecting to these fire sale bargains. The entire pricing structure of the industry is under threat, and once consumers taste these unprecedented discounts, it may be impossible for prices to return to their old levels. At the same time, labor unions representing thousands of Nissan workers in the US and abroad are mobilizing. Emergency meetings are underway to secure severance packages and protect pensions, while political leaders debate how to shield local economies from sudden job losses. Small towns built around Nissan factories are bracing for impact, knowing that a shutdown would ripple through restaurants, shops, and housing markets in an instant. Even Nissan's longtime partners in motorsport and technology are weighing their next move. Racing teams that rely on Nissan engines, software firms linked to its connected car systems, and global logistics providers are all scrambling to diversify their partnerships before the fallout deepens. For them, the clock is ticking as quickly as it is for consumers rushing to score those once-in-a-lifetime deals. International governments are stepping into the fray, each with their own agenda. In Japan, senior officials are weighing whether to inject emergency funds or let market forces dictate Nissan's fate, wary of setting a precedent that could encourage other struggling manufacturers to come calling. In the United States, lawmakers from states hosting Nissan plants are pressing for clarity, demanding that any restructuring protect local jobs and safeguard the billions in tax incentives already invested. European regulators, too, are eyeing the situation closely, especially with Nissan's alliance ties to Renault hanging by a thread. A single misstep could fracture that partnership and disrupt production lines across multiple continents. Behind the scenes, Nissan engineers continue their work, pushing to finish next-generation EV prototypes even as budgets are slashed. Their mission is twofold: keep innovation alive and create a product lineup enticing enough to lure investors or potential buyers of the company's assets. Rumors swirl of a breakthrough in solid-state battery technology, something that could dramatically lower costs and extend driving range. If these whispers prove true, that innovation could become the crown jewel that draws in a major tech company or automaker eager to leapfrog the competition. Meanwhile, the consumer frenzy is reaching fever pitch. Car enthusiasts are documenting their purchases on social media, posting videos of the massive discounts and free add-ons they've negotiated. Hashtags like #NissanDeals and #BankruptcyBlowout are trending worldwide, fueling even more foot traffic to dealerships. Some buyers report lines forming before sunrise, with certain high-demand models selling out within hours of hitting the lot. Others share stories of walking away with luxury packages and extended service plans at prices once reserved for entry-level trims. But the flip side of these bargains is beginning to emerge. Insurance companies are reevaluating premiums for new Nissan purchases, citing the uncertainty of future repair costs and parts availability. Banks are tightening auto loan criteria, wary of the rapid depreciation that could follow if the brand loses significant value. Financial advisors caution buyers to weigh the immediate savings against the potential long-term risks, reminding them that a car is more than just a sticker price. It's an ongoing commitment to maintenance, resale, and reliability. Even the aftermarket is feeling the pressure. Independent repair shops and parts suppliers are stockpiling components, anticipating both a surge in demand and potential shortages if Nissan's supply chain fragments. Some are already reporting back orders on popular replacement parts, driving up prices and creating a secondary market where certain items sell at a premium. At the cultural level, Nissan's collapse is sparking a wave of nostalgia. automotive historians and longtime fans are recounting the brand's glory days. The legendary Z sports cars, the rugged Pathfinder SUVs, the era when the Skyline GTR became a global performance icon. Enthusiasts gather at pop-up car meets, paying homage to the vehicles that defined their youth. It's a bittersweet celebration, a recognition that an era may be ending even as the cars themselves remain on the road. And as this unprecedented saga unfolds, whispers of dramatic counteroffers and surprise alliances continue to circulate. Tech giants with ambitions in autonomous driving are rumored to be watching closely, calculating whether Nissan's research divisions could accelerate their own plans. Private equity groups are quietly assembling bids for individual assets, from luxury performance brands to advanced robotics units hidden deep within Nissan's research labs. The company's future may hinge not just on cars, but on the value of the cutting-edge technology it has cultivated over decades. The ripple effects are now stretching into global logistics networks, where shipping companies and freight operators are scrambling to adjust. Nissan's massive export operations once kept key shipping routes profitable, and the sudden slowdown is forcing carriers to reroute vessels and renegotiate contracts. Ports that depended on steady traffic from Nissan's assembly plants, places like Yokohama, Barcelona, and Smyrna, are reporting sudden drops in cargo volume, threatening jobs and local revenues. Economists warn that these disruptions could compound existing supply chain headaches and create price volatility for everything from steel to semiconductor chips. Inside Nissan's headquarters, morale has reportedly sunk to unprecedented lows. Employees describe tense, all-hands meetings where leadership offers only vague assurances while sidestepping hard questions about layoffs and restructuring timelines. Some mid-level managers are already exploring opportunities with rival automakers or tech firms, fearing that a prolonged bankruptcy process will erode their career prospects. Yet pockets of loyalty remain. Veteran engineers and designers speak of a quiet determination to protect Nissan's legacy and keep the brand alive in some form, even if it means spinning off key divisions into independent companies. Investors are parsing every statement for clues, but the numbers tell a grim story. Cash reserves are dwindling faster than anticipated, and analysts now predict that without immediate external funding, Nissan could be forced into a full asset auction within months. That possibility has turned the company's intellectual property, patents on next-gen electric drivetrains, autonomous navigation systems, and high-efficiency combustion engines, into the hottest commodities in the auto tech world. Bidding wars for these assets could reach staggering sums, with players from Silicon Valley to Stuttgart eyeing a chance to leap ahead in the race for automotive dominance. Meanwhile, consumer behavior is shifting in real time. Buyers who once swore by Nissan's reputation for durability are suddenly considering competitors like Hyundai, Kia, and Tesla, lured by a perception of stability and forward-thinking technology. Dealership foot traffic remains high, but surveys show that many visitors are simply there to window shop or gauge the depth of discounts before committing. Some are even using Nissan's desperate offers as leverage to negotiate better deals with rival brands, further undermining Nissan's final revenue streams. Media coverage has transformed the company's plight into a daily spectacle. Financial networks broadcast live from dealership lots, showing off slashed prices and interviewing eager customers. Automotive podcasts dissect every rumor, while social media influencers chase viral content by filming their own bankruptcy bargain test drives. Each headline adds pressure, shaping public perception and making it harder for Nissan to negotiate quietly with potential investors or government agencies. Labor unrest is intensifying as well. Worker unions in Japan, the United States, and Europe are coordinating for the first time in decades, threatening strikes if severance guarantees and pension protections aren't secured. Politicians from affected regions are seizing the moment, holding press conferences to demand action and framing the crisis as both an economic and political battleground. The fate of thousands of workers has become a talking point in upcoming elections, ensuring that Nissan's troubles will remain front-page news for months to come. Yet amid the chaos, a surprising narrative of innovation continues to flicker. Insiders hint that Nissan's advanced driver assist technology, long overshadowed by flashier competitors, is far closer to full autonomy than the public realizes. If a tech giant or major automaker acquires these capabilities, it could instantly change the balance of power in the global race towards self-driving vehicles. That prospect alone has kept a handful of high-stakes negotiations alive behind closed doors, where billion-dollar deals could be inked in a matter of days. Yet amid the chaos, a surprising narrative of innovation continues to flicker. Insiders hint that Nissan's advanced driver assist technology, long overshadowed by flashier competitors, is far closer to full autonomy than the public realizes. If a tech giant or major automaker acquires these capabilities, it could instantly change the balance of power in the global race towards self-driving vehicles. That prospect alone has kept a handful of high-stakes negotiations alive behind closed doors where billion-dollar deals could be inked in a matter of days. As the world watches, the question deepens. Will Nissan emerge as a leaner, reimagined force in the auto industry, or will its storied nameplate join the list of once great brands that faded into history? Investors, workers, and customers alike are holding their breath, aware that every passing hour could tip the scales one way or another. Global financial institutions are now positioning themselves for what could become one of the most complex restructurings in automotive history. Major banks from Tokyo to London are setting up special task forces to manage Nissan's tangled web of international debt, while hedge funds circle like hawks, eager to snap up distressed bonds at pennies on the dollar. Credit rating agencies continue to downgrade Nissan's outlook, adding yet another layer of urgency for any potential white knight investor to act before the company's borrowing costs skyrocket completely out of reach. Suppliers, too, are in emergency mode. From microchip manufacturers in Taiwan to upholstery specialists in the American South, thousands of smaller firms depend on Nissan's orders to stay afloat. Some are already renegotiating contracts with rival automakers, while others consider layoffs of their own to brace for reduced demand. Industry analysts warn that a cascading effect could ripple through the supply chain, creating shortages and unexpected price hikes for components used by multiple car brands, not just Nissan. Even the aftermarket enthusiast community is responding in surprising ways. Collector demand for classic Nissan models, particularly vintage Z cars, GTRs, and hard-to-find performance variants, has spiked overnight. Auction houses report bidding wars for pristine examples, as enthusiasts gamble that the potential end of the brand will transform these vehicles into instant collectibles. This sudden surge in interest is inflating prices and pushing many longtime fans to either cash in or double down on their private collections. In the corporate world, rival automakers are quietly reshuffling strategy decks. Executives at Toyota, Volkswagen, and even startup EV companies are examining which Nissan markets they can capture first. Some are drawing up incentive packages targeted specifically at former Nissan loyalists, while others are exploring joint ventures to absorb stranded factory workers and skilled engineers. It's a competitive scramble playing out behind closed doors, but the stakes are obvious. Billions in future market share hang in the balance. Meanwhile, governments are beginning to debate the long-term implications for climate goals and transportation policy. Nissan was once a pioneer in mass-market electric vehicles with its early Leaf program, and its sudden downfall threatens to slow the global EV transition. Policymakers in Europe and North America are now openly questioning how to fill the gap in EV production capacity and whether subsidies or strategic alliances might be necessary to keep climate targets on track. Back on the consumer front, the dealership frenzy shows no signs of cooling. Reports continue to surface of buyers camping overnight to claim the last remaining models of their choice. Some lots have resorted to lottery systems to manage the crowds, while others conduct flash sales announced only on social media to keep traffic manageable. Customers describe an atmosphere more like a festival than a car purchase, complete with food trucks, live music, and local news crews capturing every dramatic price slash. Inside Nissan's design studios, however, the mood is starkly different. Teams are working around the clock to preserve digital archives, protect proprietary software, and secure prototypes that could be vital bargaining chips in any sale. Sources whisper of experimental concepts, hydrogen-powered drivetrains, ultra-light composite chassis, that have never been shown to the public but could redefine transportation if they reach the right buyer. These hidden assets are quickly becoming the linchpin of negotiations, offering a tantalizing glimpse of what Nissan might have become had financial collapse not intervened. And as each day passes, the suspense only deepens. International bidders are rumored to be preparing last-minute offers, unions are scheduling mass demonstrations, and consumers are still rushing to dealership lots in record numbers. The outcome remains a high-stakes mystery, with the entire automotive world watching to see whether Nissan can pull off an improbable resurrection, or whether its storied name will soon belong solely to history books and collector car registries. Late-night negotiations are now stretching across time zones as potential buyers, creditors, and government representatives attempt to craft a rescue package before Nissan's cash reserves vanish completely. Conference calls link Tokyo boardrooms with Wall Street investment banks and European trade officials, while translators and legal teams race to keep the talks moving. Leaks from insiders suggest that multiple suitors, including a major Silicon Valley tech giant and at least 2 global automakers, are quietly bidding, each with radically different visions for what a new Nissan might look like. Amid this frenzy, whispers of a bold government-led consortium are growing louder. Reports indicate that Japanese officials are exploring a hybrid solution, partial nationalization combined with private equity investment. The plan would protect domestic jobs while giving foreign investors access to Nissan's world-class R&D facilities. Such a move would be unprecedented in modern Japanese industry and could signal a dramatic shift in how nations safeguard their flagship corporations in an era of global economic turbulence. Meanwhile, ordinary customers continue to flood showrooms. Dealers are seeing unprecedented sales velocity. Entire allocations vanish within hours of arrival. Popular models like the Rogue, Frontier, and Z sports car are selling at prices so low that rival dealers from other brands are showing up in disguise, hoping to scoop up inventory to resell later at a profit. Stories of customers negotiating 5-figure discounts and walking away with lifetime maintenance packages are spreading like wildfire on social media, fueling an almost feverish sense of urgency. Insurance and finance companies are scrambling to keep pace. Some lenders have introduced special bankruptcy protection clauses to reassure buyers, while others have pulled back entirely, wary of financing vehicles whose long-term value is uncertain. Lease terms are being rewritten on the fly, with some dealers offering buyouts at shockingly low rates just to move cars off the lot before any new corporate directives can freeze sales. On the factory floor, workers describe a surreal atmosphere. Production lines run at full speed to fulfill the final rush of orders, even as rumors of imminent closures circulate. Veteran employees trade hushed stories about secret projects, next-generation EV platforms, experimental hydrogen engines that could become the centerpiece of any successful acquisition. Engineers guard prototypes as though they're crown jewels, aware that these designs might fetch billions if negotiations turn into a bidding war. Outside the plants, entire communities brace for whatever comes next. Real estate agents in factory towns report both a sudden influx of speculators hoping for bargain properties and a wave of longtime residents quietly listing their homes, fearful of an economic collapse if Nissan shutters operations. Local businesses dependent on worker traffic, restaurants, shops, service providers, are simultaneously enjoying a short-term boom from the influx of visiting buyers and dreading the day after the crowds disappear. Across the Atlantic, European partners tied to the Nissan-Renault alliance are holding emergency meetings of their own. French officials are pressuring Renault to clarify whether it will increase its stake, divest completely, or attempt a hostile takeover to salvage the partnership. The outcome of these tense discussions could redefine the balance of power in the European auto market, with ripple effects reaching from Germany's industrial heartland to the EV corridors of Scandinavia. Still, beneath all the panic and speculation, a thread of optimism persists. Industry veterans point to past corporate near-death experiences, Chrysler in the late 70s, GM during the 2008 financial crisis, as proof that even the most dire situations can spark remarkable comebacks. With Nissan's deep engineering talent and a treasure trove of advanced technology, some analysts believe that if the right investor steps in at the right moment, the brand could emerge leaner, stronger, and more innovative than ever before. For now, The world watches as each hour brings new rumors, new deals, and new stakes. The next announcement, whether a rescue, a sale, or a final collapse, could rewrite not only Nissan's story but the future of the entire global automotive industry. And that's where this unfolding drama stands, on a knife's edge between collapse and reinvention. What began as whispers of financial trouble has become a worldwide spectacle, with governments, investors, and everyday drivers all waiting for the next headline that could change everything.